headquarters in Concord, North Carolina. Getting ready for tonight's Pro Invitational Series. We've got Chris Buescher here with us. Chris is getting ready to drive the Fastenal Racing E-Mustang tonight. Chris, you've gotten your first few laps here in the simulator in practice. How are you feeling about tonight?
Yeah, I think this will be pretty wild. Got some practice laps, felt decent about it. I don't know where the speed's at. Track's changing dramatically fast, and I think it's really wide. So I'm glad I got to run a little bit last week up there in a 604 car. So have a little idea what we're getting ready to get into. But this right here will be a fun night. We'll go goof around a little bit and see if we can't get our Fastenal Mustang first into the A main and then in the victory lane.
Hey, Chris, this is Kevin Woods. Quick question. How long do you think it'll take for you to use that first hard reset?
I'm going to say it's going to be pretty quick. More than likely, we're going to have a bunch up early on, and we'll find ourselves using it. So we'll get past that one, and we'll move on to the real race part, let it get strung out, and try and move forward.
So you've got two resets tonight. You plan on using both of them?
Yeah, I mean, they're free. We're going to use all we can get. So if we got a wrinkled fender and we got to make a pit stop, we're going to go ahead and use that quick reset and get a new car and be ready to go. So, yeah, absolutely. We'll take anything they give us. So we don't get to use this in the real world, so we'll definitely use it here.
Hey, last thing, Chris, before we let you get to it, we did this last year, but this time you got your teammates sitting there in the same building. Is that a little added pressure? Yeah,
we'll get ready to find out if once we qualify if we're in the same heat race, and probably won't work the same as a speedway race. We probably can't push each other and make each other faster. So yeah, we'll have a little bit of friendly competition going on in here at the same time as we're racing everybody else.
All right, we're gonna let you get to it. Good luck. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
I don't know, Kevin. I feel like this might be an interesting night for the guys. None of the drivers really have any experience on the dirt at Bristol in real life. I think they've got even less so when it comes to iRacing. It should be an adventure.
Well, one thing's for sure, Sunday when they do this, there won't be any hard resets. So I think they should make the most of that. But we'll take a look here at both Ron and Chris as they get situated in there with their onboard cameras there with the Oscar Mayer machine and the Fastenal machine. And I hear the national anthem in the background wrapping up, so I guess we'll see what goes on here. Can you talk a little bit about the format for tonight and what you think we'll see?
Yeah, so we're going to kick things off with qualifying here in just a minute or two. It will be single-car qualifying runs. Of course, the advantage of doing this in a video game program is that all of the drivers can do these single-car runs at once at the same time and not run into each other. So that really helps streamline the efficiency here. Once we get done with qualifying, the drivers are going to be divided up into a couple of heats here, at which point we will go one by one, and then I believe it's the top 7 finishers from each heat will make tonight's feature race, which we're looking at the green flag for that one being at right around 8:40 p.m. Eastern time. It should be a good show. Of course, as Chris alluded to, might get mucked up a little bit. We'll see how this first turn goes in the first heat. I think that's going to be the most exciting turn of the entire night, to be honest.
Well, I guess the name of the game is to be at 8:40, right? Or 8:50.
I mean, it's all about controlling what you can control when you're out there on the dirt, and I think that's what you can control is getting yourself into that feature race and then letting the cards fall where they may.
Well, as we take a look at getting ready for qualifying, let's take a look at the cars you'll see running on the virtual dirt tonight. The Fastenal Ford, Chris Buescher's looking really nice. These are also the same cars you'll see on Sunday, probably not quite this clean. And then a look at Ryan's Oscar Mayer Ford, featuring the cold cuts there, as you see. We'll get back to these guys. Looks like they're getting ready to go qualifying.
It is. Ryan appears to be a fan of the one-handed driving style, Kevin. I think that's also your preferred method of driving, too. Can you speak a little bit about the advantages of that style?
Hey, that man's got his other arm out the window, and he's feeling the breeze blowing through his hair on a Saturday night, and he's cruising with a top down. So, you got to be comfortable to be good. And he's definitely got the comfortable thing down pat, I think, here. Chris looks a little more uptight. Part of this is Ryan didn't do this iRacing last year, so maybe in this scenario, ignorance is bliss.
You got to think so. I think after a couple of those incidents last year with Chris, I think it was here at Bristol where Brad Keselowski's car appeared in the middle of the fence and took out Chris from the lead in one of those races. You can see why he's a little tense going into this one.
Well, you certainly never know what may happen in an iRace event, and you probably don't know what's going to happen in a dirt race iRacing event. It's a mouthful to say. It's a lot to comprehend. Speaking of this, it kind of builds a lot of excitement for Sunday's event.
It really does. I think with there not being the ability to have any practice time until we get to the track, of course, they will have actual practice, but this is such a good lead-in, to give the guys a look at the track, a feel for what it is, iRacing being such a good simulation program. I'll be interested to hear from the guys after they get done with the weekend of racing at the Bristol Dirt track, just how closely the setup wound up being to it. But when we're looking at this, I think it's just going to be an adventure tonight. Gotta go on. We're going to have some fun. Not sure Ryan was having too much fun in that qualifying run. He didn't look super happy with the result of it, so we'll have to see how that turned out.
Well, at least it looks like he came prepared there. He's got 4 fresh tires behind him and a fire suit, so I think he's ready to go to battle.
I'm assuming he's going to be putting those on if he makes a feature race.
He said you couldn't keep him out of them. So, we have any result from that qualifying run?
I feel like we probably do, but I'm not seeing any just yet. Of course, waiting on our results here. It looks like the top 5 are out. We are not in the top 5. Not really a surprise. Wait, hold on. We might have Chris Buescher, P2 on the board.
Well, it's good enough for me. We'll take it. Chris Buescher, P2.
There we go. Qualifying results from BMS Updates. Chris Buescher, number 2 on the board, right behind Ford teammate Joey Logano, right ahead of Garrett Smithly, Christopher Bell, and William Byron. That is a big-time performance from the Prosper, Texas native.
Maybe we can get him back on here for a second.
So we're trying to see if we can get Chris Buescher on the line here after that performance. That is an absolute shocker. Of course, Chris had a couple of strong runs last year in the Pro Invitational Series, led a bunch of laps at Bristol, but it was certainly a series full of ups and downs for him, one where he was definitely learning as he went along. It looks like he has learned a ton. If he's getting up to P2 on the board, flabbergasted. I'm as big of a fan of Chris Buescher as anyone, but even I wouldn't have predicted this result. That puts him into a good spot going into these qualifying races, dividing them up. There'll be 3 heat races, of course, to set this 21-car grid for the feature. Top 7 finishers in each heat will advance, and with that P2 time, I believe Chris is going to have the pole in one of these features, which gives him a really great shot at making it to that feature race, which, of course, as we know, that's the big goal here. Get yourself into that main event, then see what you can do from there. Chris is pulling the headphones off, getting the hat on, true professional. It looks like he's getting ready for an interview here. We may have gotten him on the line. Kevin, we have any luck getting Chris in here? Kevin's gone too. It's just me. All right, Kevin's back.
We're still trying to pull that together here. We seem to be having a tad bit of technical difficulty.
Well, it's spring training for everyone right now, not just the drivers. This is also our first go at this type of event here. So You guys are gonna have to bear with us a little bit. It should be a good time here tonight, but we're all learning.
Word from the virtual pit is to hang tight. It looks like we're doing some fire suit adjustments over here on the Oscar Mayer pit. And maybe here, what we got? About 5 minutes for the.
I believe they're setting the lineups now for each of the 3 heat races, and then should be going live shortly with them.
That's excellent news. You can see both guys here. They look like they're getting settled in, getting ready to hear what heat race they're in. And what is it? I believe they take the top 7 finishers from each heat race, correct? That'll make up a 21 car field main.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. It looks like pre-race ceremonies are underway, and we're getting to the heat right about now.
I hear Chris.
Oh, jeez.
Sounds like they're.
I'm gonna guess that we just got to the first lap. First lap, heat 1, which neither of our drivers are in. Thankfully, as it appears that, oh boy, they're wrecking big. Oh, we got flips. We have flips at Virtual Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh,
you couldn't have asked for a much better result than neither of our guys being in that first heat race, Kevin. That really was one heck of a break for us.
It was a good break. Good to see both guys in the second heat race. We'll be able to have and the other, I think, advantage is they'll be able to watch this first heat race and kind of see some of the events unfolding here, and maybe what not to do as they get ready. As we watch Chris and Ryan both intently watching this first heat race, currently being led by Christopher Bell, I believe.
That's right. Of course, Christopher Bell is one of those guys that does have a lot of iRacing experience here. So he's always one of the favorites whenever we come into one of these iRacing Pro Invitationals. Chris and Ryan, of course, relative newcomers among the field as far as virtual racing. Last time I talked to Chris about his experience in virtual racing, I believe the last time he had done it was NASCAR 2000 on N64. One of my favorite games, too, but maybe not the platform to set you up for success in iRacing. Of course, Chris puts in the hard work. He's done a lot of practice. Like we said, had a good run last year in a couple of events. But I think he's going to be learning a lot watching this first heat for sure.
That is excellent news. You talk about your favorite racing game. I believe the best racing game we ever had was Dirt to Daytona, personally. Came out around 2002. That's a
fantastic choice. I was also a fan as a kid of NASCAR 2006 with Total Team Control. When you use that Roush Racing lineup, you could talk to your teammates, have them help you out. Having all 5 cars in that was a huge, huge help when you're not very good at video game racing like me.
All right, I think we're going to talk to Chris right now, Jackson. So I'm told he's ready to go.
Chris, you got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Chris, what the hell just happened? You just went P2 on the board in qualifying.
Yeah, throttle hung. No, it's I don't know. I guess all my practice was on a really dry, slick racetrack, which is what we had for qualifying. So maybe practicing ahead of time paid off, or not practicing ahead of time paid off. But sitting here watching heat race number 1, trying to learn a little bit because the track is way different than what we just ran.
Would you say one of your key learnings is maybe to try and not flip over at Bristol?
Yeah, shiny side up is preferred for sure. We'll see how it really works out here, but we're gonna go run in this heat race, try and keep it clean so that we can be in this feature. I think we got a good shot now. Hopefully, we'll be ahead of most of the mess.
How wide you put the bumper out there starting first? How wide are you going to make your car on that restart?
It won't be on purpose. If the car's wide, it's just because I don't know what I'm doing. So It'll probably be pretty wide by accident, but it looks like a lot of guys running the top right now. So I think that that's way different than what we were running in practice. That wasn't fast at all. So we'll be rolling up there trying to find that cushion and hopefully not have to worry about that rear bumper. We can get a little distance.
Do you think they're running the top line on purpose, or is it just they don't have control of their cars? Because usually I run the high line at Bristol too. I promise you it's not because it's what I want to do.
So they look like they're doing it on purpose. They got the right rear against the fence. If the right front's against the fence, that's not on purpose. So
I usually manage both.
All right. Well, Chris, we wish you luck in that race. We'll let you get back to watching this. It looks like this first heat race is winding down, so we'll be excited to see you. And we'll have you all mic'd up and listening to you, so be a good boy.
I'll do my best.
Always a thrill to talk to Chris, especially coming off a high like that qualifying run there. I will say, you know, we're excited for what Chris can do here, but man, there's a lot of variables out there outside your control on the track right now.
It would appear so watching it, and watching it, you see these heats, they go pretty quick. So we'll get started with our heat here in a few moments, and we'll know pretty soon how that's going to go, right? Where will Ryan be starting this heat? We know Chris is up front.
That's a fantastic question, Kevin, and one I do not know the answer to right now. Really just trying to scour Twitter for some results. Most people just post in the top 5 here, which was helpful for learning about Chris's run, not so much with Ryan.
Well, I guess we'll get to it in a moment. I guess that gives us a second we can talk about. There's some pretty exciting Pro Invitational iRaces coming up. Looks like the next one after this one will be Daytona on Talladega on April 21st. Virtual Talladega can be as exciting as regular Talladega.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen when these guys step into these iRacing cars, and you never know what's going to happen at Talladega. You put the two together, and you really, really don't know what's going to happen.
Well, it gives you a chance to be fairly aggressive in the iRacing car. You have a couple of resets, and it doesn't hurt when you go airborne. So definitely be interesting. April 21st. Then May 5th, track 2 tough to virtually tame Darlington.
That should be a fun one, too. I think, fast, just under 1.5 miles, worn out surface. You can get some dynamic track conditions there. That should be a blast. And
then on May 19th, we'll get a sneak preview of the COTA, the Circuit of Americas, which we will visit later on and for real in real time. But we'll get it's kind of be interesting, much like this dirt race. We'll get a little bit of a preview of what COTA is all about, having not raced there before.
That's what I'm really looking forward to. I think having the guys turning right and left is really going to show off the strengths of this iRacing platform. It should be a lot of fun to watch them navigate a track that they've never been on before, but it's also not an oval. So it really is going to show you who's put in the work, who's put in the practice time to get good at that track there.
And then the big announcement today on June 2nd, Chicago Street Course, which on TV they were making quite an issue about as to maybe that's a prelude of things to come. Not sure of that yet, but we do know for a fact on June 2nd, this Pro Invitational iRacing League will take to a Chicago street course.
We're definitely not at liberty to confirm or deny any rumors there. All I can say is, I think it would be a lot of fun. Chicago is a beautiful city. We've raced up in Chicagoland Speedway for years, not on the schedule this year. So I think making a visit to the virtual street course is going to be a lot of fun.
I was personally hoping for an East Dubuque street course. They're right outside of Talladega, but I guess we'll have to settle for Chicago and see what happens with that coming up. So just a few moments away from the first heat race, that'll see Chris, the Hitman Busher, starting at the front of the field. And Ryan Newman in the number 6 Oscar Mayer Ford, he'll be starting there. We're trying to confirm where he's going to be starting, but he'll definitely be in that race. And as we know, anything from what we've seen earlier tonight is the start of these things look to be a little bit hairy. So we'll see if this field learns from the first heat race, takes it a little bit more kinder approach out of the gate, or if they go full in?
Yeah, I can definitely confirm, Kevin, that I still do not know where Ryan Newman will be starting, but we do know that Chris will be in this second heat here. I think a good learning from that first heat was Joey Logano, who started on the pole there, had a little bit of trouble, was bouncing off the wall a little bit, still finished fifth, advanced to the feature race. That's the key there. I think that sets us with a good baseline for Chris in this race. I think that's all we're looking for is top 7 here. And it looks like if you just stay on the lead lap, you should be okay.
Well, we take a look at our guys here up top as they get ready to go. Looks like a lot of concentration starting to come across the faces of these world-class competitors.
I mean, just absolutely unbreakable focus. That's what separates these guys from you and me. Nerves of steel, focus, titanium, mind of some other sort of really dense, tough metal. Yeah, just, any metaphor you want to throw out there with anything metallic. I think that's a great way to describe all of these drivers here.
So I think the thing we have to remember here is that in order to advance, we need the guys to finish in the top 7 of this heat race, correct? Or it's a short night.
Yep, that's absolutely right, Kevin. Top 7 is the goal here. That's what's going to move you on to that feature event. Again, we're looking at roughly 8:40 p.m. green flag on that. Probably, depending on maybe some cleanup, anything like that ends up being necessary from these races. That first one was a little bit hairy. I'm guessing we're going to see a few more fireworks in heats 2 and 3.
We were just about to go down and talk to Ryan Newman, and it seems there's some technical difficulty with the microphone on that car, on that virtual rig, I should say, not a car. So we'll just kind of look in on him here as he gets ready for heat race number 1. Again, Chris Buescher starting at the front of that, and Ryan starting somewhere there behind him.
All right, he is rolling, so it does seem like he is definitely in this heat.
Well, rolling. All right, we get them both up here. All right, we'll let you guys take a look at these guys here as they get ready to roll.
Rolling off, Boyer and Denny Hamlin right behind Chris here in row 3, then Michael McDowell, Martin Truex Jr. in row 4. Row 5, Bubba Wallace and Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2 guys that are definitely familiar with the iRacing platform, followed by Anthony Alfredo and Quinn Huff. There's our guy, Ryan Newman, row 7. So we're bookending the field in this heat race with Chris up front, Ryan coming from the rear, both looking to make moves, get into that top 7 and advance to the feature race.
I like the fact we have the field covered from front to back, and it's the good news is the good news for Ryan is there's a lot of positions out there to be gained, and the good news for Chris is he's already there. So we'll see how this pans out here. Unfortunately, we weren't able to talk to Ryan Newman. I would have liked to got a word in with him there. Couldn't get the audio to work just right. Learning curve for everybody in this iRacing. So
curve might not even be a strong enough word as we watch the first turn here. A lot of chaos. Ryan Newman gets around Clint Boyer, not in last place anymore. That's real exciting to see. Oh man, this is absolute chaos here. Chris is holding his own, holding on to second place. Of course, William Byron, who won 3 of the iRacing events last year, taking the lead. So to be expected to a degree, but Chris really holding his own up there in second. Really like to see that for his first competitive laps on this dirt track.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see Chris Holden second. Really can't tell it on TV. They don't appear to want to show him. That's okay. We'll report the results here, and
Chris is pulling away from the middle of the pack here. He's comfortably in second, up to almost a full second lead on third place, and friend of the program, Ross Chastain there, who of course drove the number 6 in our iRacing Pro Invitational events in 2020.
There's that fast forward.
There we go, and we're getting a live look from Chris's dashboard. I mean, man, this is where you can just tell. Chris has put in the hours on iRacing. I mean, you were watching a guy who had not really done a whole lot of virtual racing in his life, competing with guys who spend time on this every single week. This is such an impressive performance.
Well, I think it's indicative to Chris and his work ethic and wanting to be the best at what he does. And right now, tonight, as we're doing it, that's iRacing. And you can see the results of a lot of hours on the simulator here and a lot of hours on the rig. I've been seeing him coming here day after day after day for weeks now, getting ready for this, and it's paying off at the moment.
Absolutely, and you just can't break that focus from Chris. I mean, this is a master class that we're watching right now, Kevin. He got beat on the initial start, but ever since then, I mean, there's no flaws you can find in this. Of course, we've got a number of people in the comments asking where they can watch this race. If you want to pull up a second screen, of course, you want to be watching Kevin and I as your first screen. It's a more important broadcast. But if you do want to see what's going on the track, it is being broadcast live on Fox Sports 1. I believe you can also stream it on foxsportsgo.com if you don't have that on your dial.
Looks like Chris is still holding his own. Ryan has a little bit of his work cut out for him here. As we're at the halfway point, he needs to pick up 5 or 6 solid positions to put that number 6 Oscar Mayer Ford in that top 7 to advance to the next race. And can see that you can kind of see here it's starting to come to him a little bit. Ryan, the probably more experienced dirt racer, probably a little bit less experienced iRacer than Chris, and some of that probably showing here. But race is halfway over, so I believe we might just win a lap down there. It's gonna
got him right where he wants him, Kevin.
Well, he's got him overconfident and cocky, and sometimes that's the best place to have him.
Based on these camera angles we're seeing of roughly 3rd through 10th place here, just trying to play pinball with each other, it may be that you just want to be hanging behind all these guys, let them take themselves out. That tends to be Ryan's strategy at super speedway races, hang back a little bit for the first half of the race, then get up in the mix towards the end there. Maybe he's trying the same thing here at the Bristol Dirt track. It's a race that we haven't run in NASCAR before, so no one really knows what the ideal strategy is, and you got to give him props for trying that out, trying something new here.
Meanwhile, Mr. Busher maintaining a solid place in second. Got about 3 seconds, it looks like, ahead of third. A little under a second and a half off of William Byron, who is, like you said, a very experienced iRacer. So honestly, a very impressive showing for Chris Busher as we see Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin go a lap down. So, I mean, there may be a little bit of correlation with some of the older veterans and not translating quite as well to this iRacing as you'll see some of the younger guys that maybe take a different approach to it and are a different place in their career. But very impressed with Chris Busher's run to this point.
Do you think anyone's going to blame their dog in this race, Kevin?
Dog, kids, power. Earlier tonight, I was plugging some lighting into the studio there and blew the whole rig. So anything can go wrong. In a regular race, there's a lot of obstacles that you have to overcome. There's even more obstacles, it appears, in iRacing. Where a simple power outage or an internet outage or something like that can end your day early. I think a I think those things are the equivalent to the old engine expiring. Used to see 10 to 15 years ago. You're not going to blow an engine more than likely in an iRace, but the power may go out. So the kid may, or your child may turn the rig off, or a dog might jump in your lap. All kind of crazy things out here.
You know, you say that, Kevin. Even the best of the best in iRacing can have things go wrong. I know in the Coca-Cola iRacing series this year, we have had a competitor blow an engine out. Roush Fenway Gaming Team has, of course, lost a race because internet went out in the middle of the race. That was super fun. So a lot of variables you got to account for when it comes to iRacing. As we get the checkered flag here on heat number 2, Chris Buescher coming in second place there. Ryan Newman just coming short of qualifying for the feature race, but an excellent effort. Got some fresh air, got some exercise there. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that was a strong effort late there. You really couldn't see it on TV, but on our race team monitors, Ryan really getting that Oscar Mayer Ford in a lot better shape there toward the end. Was, I believe, getting ready to mount a run if this was a little bit longer event.
I think, another couple of laps and he'd have had him, Kevin. There's no doubt about that.
All right, well, I'm going to check and see if we can go down and talk to the man of the hour. I'll be right back with you here in just a second.
All right, well, we're trying to get Chris on the horn here. That was a dominating performance there. P2 going to set him up well in that feature race. Coming up in about 15, 20 minutes here. But just a thrilling start. We're seeing a replay here on Fox Sports 1. Whole field bunches up on the restart. Not Chris, though. Just jumps to the opening there, gets right through in second place, and holds on to that throughout the entire duration there. Beaten out third place by over 3 seconds. There's no other word to describe this except impressive. Chris is a guy who put in a lot of work, a lot of hours into iRacing, practicing his craft here, running all types of disciplines. He'll come into the office sometimes to see him running super trucks for absolutely no reason. Just absolutely loves it. And we're, of course, hoping that success will translate to the real Bristol Dirt race this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. You can watch it live on Fox. We'll also, of course, have practice on Friday and heat races on Saturday to set the field for that. Should be an absolute blast. First time NASCAR Cup Series has driven on dirt since 1970. It's been over 50 years since we've had it. I know it's going to be an absolutely thrilling event here. Looks like that was a thrilling event, too, as we see Chris explaining to the spotters and crew chief just exactly what was going through his mind during that race.
Yeah, I believe that's maybe Chris and Ryan conferring a little bit on that race there, a totally different tale of the tape for each of them, obviously, during that deal. A lot of that probably having to do with the starting position, a very short race, not a lot of time to make up a lot of ground. And yeah, so I cannot wait for this. I can't wait for this next I can't wait for this next heat race because the first two were absolutely exciting, and I darn sure can't wait to watch Chris Buescher in that feature.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if Chris comes in second place there, he should be starting somewhere between 4th and 6th once we get to the feature race. Of course, top 21 cars will make that, so he'll set himself up well for a strong performance in that feature. It sounds like Chris is having a little debrief with Ryan right now, trying to talk through what he saw from that race, maybe what Ryan saw from a little different perspective further back in the field, maybe getting a couple of tips on how he can work his way through some dirty air, work his way through traffic.
I think maybe he's telling him the key there is qualifying.
Isn't it always?
I've heard that. Less cut out, but it's definitely animated conversation there between the two teammates.
I was talking to Ryan before this race. He said, I'm excited to have the resets in this race. Otherwise, we might tear up a lot of cars. Well, It looks like he was totally right about that. We've seen cars on their roofs, cars up in the fence, but both of our guys managed to avoid trouble in that race, and I think, that's what it's all about.
I think that was definitely a key going in. I know Chris was very excited about the race. I know Ryan was very excited about the race, and I know they're both for Ryan, he's going to have to shift his focus to April 21st in Talladega, and I'm sure that's where his mind already is.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. I think, gotta get started now. Make sure you're keeping up with the rest of the field that will undoubtedly be spending that time preparing for that race as well. We got someone on YouTube, says they're Ryan Newman. I don't think they actually are. It says, "Why does iRacing hate me?" I don't know, Kevin. I don't think that's actually Ryan Newman.
I don't think it's Ryan Newman, but assuming it was, it was a tough night. But I don't think iRacing hates Ryan Newman. I really don't. I think at times it might be sideways with him, but I don't think it hates him. I think it's probably a love-hate relationship, if anything else. And on tonight, you saw the hate part of it more than you saw the love. But I've no doubt we get back here on April 21st at Talladega, or maybe May 5th at one of Ryan's favorite tracks, Darlington. That's probably going to be a love relationship, and I look forward to seeing it.
I just got to say, Kevin, iRacing is a complex computer program written in coding language. I really don't think it has emotions. I think it's really just a set of alphanumeric values plugged into some sort of program to create this code that simulates racing in a very realistic fashion. I really just, it does a lot. I don't feel like it has emotions, though.
I think at some point in time we all feel like somebody hates us, or or hated. But I think it's those times, and what you can see, Ryan doing here is getting, he's using his spirit, his teammate's spirit to lift him up, and I'm sure Chris is telling him that, hey, come back here in April for this Talladega race. It's probably going to be a different tale of tape. I might have to lean on you.
Yeah, if nothing else, Ryan was able to complete the laps in that race. I would say if iRacing hates anyone, it's probably me. I've not actually been able to complete a lap in my adventures in the program here.
Yeah, I hopped on it myself last year during a practice session when Chris wasn't looking, and I think I embarrassed him, but I don't believe I was able to get a lap around the track. So that tells you how much admiration you really have to have for these guys out here putting it all on the line tonight. And really one of the premier virtual competitions out there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an accomplishment just to be here, Kevin. I really don't think there's any other way to put that. So it looks like Chris is still having a fairly animated conversation with Ryan there. I think Heat 3 is about to start up, and then we might have a short intermission here before the feature race. So looking like it's it's a long event, having three heat races and then a feature, but it's moving quickly. Time flies when you're having fun, and we certainly are here watching the NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. Of course, if you want to tune into that as well as this broadcast, it is on Fox Sports 1.
Jackson, let's go to Sydney, who is Bryson on our staff, who is in the war room down there, right in the middle of all this. Sydney, how is it down there? Looks a little dusty.
Yeah, it's really intense. Our drivers are really preparing right now. They're chatting it up and seeing what they could do better. I think Ryan's trying to learn a little bit from us, and seeing what he did is pretty impressive.
We thought that Chris was very impressive. Looks like he's came a long way in a short time. And really, as we watched the race unfold, we thought if Ryan had a little bit more time, he was probably ready to mount a move up that field.
I agree. He was definitely gearing up to move up.
To be in the room, I mean, what is the emotion like in there? Is it just intense?
It is. It really is. I mean, the first time on dirt, before we prepare to go there this weekend in person, really, the emotions on both of their faces.
I swore before the race started, I saw the hair stand up on Chris's head.
It did. It did. He was shaking a little bit. You could tell the nerves. It looks like all of his nerves are out of the system, though.
So being in that room, I mean, you know, in that, is it? Can you just smell the emotion in the because I mean, is it just testosterone just flowing everywhere with this kind of competition going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Kevin.
Sydney, what are you hearing from the crews down there? I know these guys have spotters, crew chiefs working with them. Are they talking about maybe running the strategy backwards in this feature race, looking to mix it up, try and gain an advantage on the competition?
Well, actually, we have a spotter with us right now. I can give you a live interview.
That would be awesome.
This is live.
Tell us about that. Matt Lady, this is Matt Lady, who basically runs our iRacing here at Roush Fenway Racing. So, Matt, very impressive performance by Chris, the Hitman Busher there, the pole and a second place. How'd you guys do it?
Well, he made it really easy on me. He came in, he got some good practice on this track, and he was just raring to go. He learned this dirt stuff quick. He made it really easy on me. I didn't have much to do spotty, but basically was running a clean track by himself the whole time.
I think you're being a little modest. I was in that room earlier, and Chris couldn't even keep the machine on. And here
I wasn't going to say no. Let's see. What was the cause of that machine going down earlier, actually?
Technical malfunction, I believe. But
yeah.
Well, you know, glad you guys got that worked out, and we look forward to seeing Chris and you leading the way here in this feature coming up in a little while. Yeah. Good job.
It's going to be exciting.
I seem to be Jackson.
Yeah, speaking of technical difficulties, Kevin, I might be having a few of my own here. My headset appears to be on the verge of not advancing to the feature race, as they say.
Well, that's highly unfortunate. I also happen to know that the Golden Girls Marathon starts here at 8:30, so if you're trying to weasel out into being able to watch that, not this heat, by faking the old headphone thing, that's okay.
Kevin, I've got every episode of that recorded. Don't need to catch the marathon live, I assure you. Fully up to speed on the adventures of the Golden Girls.
Looks like Sydney is let's take it back to Sydney there in the control center. Sydney, what's going on down there now as we get ready for this heat race?
Well, both of our team spotters are chatting, talking strategy here. So we're just anxiously awaiting the I guess they have a warm-up coming up next, some more practice in before the race begins.
You think before we get into that, we'd have one more opportunity to talk to the Hitman?
I'm sorry, time.
Jackson was wondering if we could have one more opportunity to speak with Chris there before we get rolling again here. We'd love to talk to him about that run.
Yes, we'll set that up. Coming right up.
Kevin, I've got great news. I appear to be back in tune with the audio here. Got a brand new set of headphones. Should be able to last me through at least the feature race. And then hopefully the Golden Girls Marathon after that.
That's good to know. We're just sitting here, we're watching Chris confirm. I tell you what, when you talk about Chris Busher in an iRace, you do not analyze his style, you admire it.
You know, when you look at iRacing, you got to say you either got the horses or you don't. And you and I both know Chris Busher, horses, synonymous.
I tell you what, you look at this, as this third heat race is wrapping up, you look at these 21 drivers in this race, and you know, when you put these 21 guys on the same track, you throw the records out. You Katie bar the door. It's just racing. This is almost a hate, like a feud really going to go on here. And I think it's going to be intense.
Intense is probably the only word you could use to describe it. I mean, this is an absolute battle. It's a war. I mean, these guys, when they get in there, eye to eye, well, virtually, so webcam to webcam, there's not much you can do to keep them apart. All of them have their eyes on the prize, and that's that virtual checkered flag coming from Barney the Flag Man.
Virtual flag man.
He's real to me, Kevin.
I was wondering, are we going to have a chance again on April 21st to see the virtual diesel truck there at Talladega? Obviously, one of my favorite things.
I sure hope so. That's always been one of my favorite parts about going to Talladega Superspeedway. And I think pulling it in virtually, even if you got to maybe mix in the source code from like Truck Driver Simulator 2018, something like that, it'd be worthwhile.
Definitely something to think about and work out as we watch it. Looks like this race is very in hand for the top two. You got a little bit of sideways action here. So who do you think, looking at it right now, who do you see as the favorite for this main coming up feature?
I'd have to say it's Chris Buescher, because Kevin, I got to tell you, I don't give a single care in the world about anyone else in this field. That's our guy. I haven't even watched this third heat race. I do not care. I just think it's going to be Chris Buescher and that Fastenal Racing Mustang going to the front here.
Well, it's already there. So that only has a couple of positions to gain. And, we can take this virtual checkers and the virtual trophy and all that home to the house with him.
Well, no, actually he can't, Kevin, because as you and I both know, he doesn't have a working internet connection at his house. So he will not be able to store those virtual trophies.
Well, what we'll need to do is download those trophies for him on a disc or something, so he can bring them up on his Commodore 64 when he gets home, and sit there with his wife and look at those, and maybe share the experience with the dogs and the cats and the chickens and the goats and whatever he has wandering around out there in the front yard there of his.
I believe you've forgotten the ducks, Kevin.
Ducks, yeah. Well, you gotta get the ducks. Looks like he's getting ready to strap up and go there, getting the headset back on. You can just see the intensity builds in Chris's eyes as he gets ready to take is this a warm-up lap? Is that what I understand it to be?
It seems like it. I just pulled my my TV feed back up. Like I said, I was not watching because neither of our guys were in it. That still says there's 10 laps to go there, but Twitter's telling me that the heat number 3 is over. So maybe a little off on my synchronization there.
Yeah, Chris is definitely looks like he's taking a lap. Folks, this is not the feature. This, I believe Sydney told us this was a warm-up lap or something, which seems a little odd after qualifying in a race to do a maybe the virtual track conditions, these conditions change as the cars run across that dirt and pack it down. And when you pack dirt down, you get a little bit of moisture in it, and it becomes mud.
You're absolutely right about that, Kevin. I think what it is, though, is you just can't keep Chris Buescher off the track. The kid just loves racing. So
you'll be in attendance this weekend for the actual dirt race there at Bristol, something that hasn't happened in our lifetimes anyway. You're excited about it. It's something, definitely breaks the norm and something different. And kind of when you roll in there on Friday, I guess you're not really going to know what to expect just as a person working the race. You can imagine how the drivers feel, but is it something that is exciting?
Absolutely. It's really cool to be able to experience something new. And I think that's what NASCAR's done such a good job of with the schedule this year, is bringing in these new events, bringing in some new blood to the circuit. I think it'll be really cool. We all, of course, love the Charlotte Roval, then the Daytona Road Course being added last year. Really excited, not just for Bristol Dirt, but for the Circuit of the Americas, for Nashville Superspeedway, all the new events that we're going to, Road America for the first time in the Cup Series. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. Just getting to see some new things.
We had a question come in. Somebody wants to know why me and Sydney have the same hair. I don't know how to take that, but
oh my gosh. My hair is way cooler. He could never.
Give me some time. It takes some time. I think Jackson has more hair on his face than we do on our head anyway.
This is true.
So can you tell us what's Chris doing down there right now, Sydney?
Chris is rolling through some dirt laps. He's warming up. We have about 10 minutes until, or actually 4 or 5 minutes until the race begins, I believe. So he's getting ready. hopefully to get another top 5 and take the checkered flag at Bristol.
We'll definitely talk to Chris when this feature's over and he's in that virtual victory lane. And so I'm assuming Ryan's probably positioned himself somewhere to front and center to watch this thing, right? And
yes, absolutely. We're all about supporting teammates here at Roush Fenway Racing.
You heard it from Sydney. We're moments away from the virtual drop of the green flag at virtual iRace Bristol Dirt race. And it sounds like it's so exciting down there, Sydney. You can barely even pay attention. I understand because it's just chaos and pandemonium in a virtual pit.
Sorry, I was just talking to the spotter, making sure he was all set up and ready to go. A lot of action here in the war room.
All right, we'll keep the power on in there, and we will talk to you guys when this thing's over. And Chris has brought home victory for us all.
Sydney, make sure you got the virtual hat bag ready for virtual victory lane.
And get ready to ring that virtual victory bell.
Will do.
We wanted to. We'll come back to Sydney in a little bit as we see Chris there.
I'd love to get Ryan Newman's thoughts on this, but I understand how upset he is. He's a competitor. He's a guy that doesn't like not finishing where he thinks he should have in these races. It's just, I'm sure it's an emotional time for him. So I completely understand him at least delaying our request for an interview here.
Well, if you look at him right now, he's got the eye of the tiger, no doubt.
He's rising up to the challenge of his rivals, that's for sure.
It's face-to-face out in the heat, and he's hanging tough and staying hungry, I guarantee you that. So looking forward to, you see there he kind of looked like he's reflecting a little bit, that last moment of taking a deep breath in and just really grasping the gravity of this moment that he's about to embark on. It's a first virtual feature race at Bristol Dirt Race, and here he is in it. Not just in it, but he's towards the front, and I think he's about to make some noise and maybe shock the world.
He is bringing the noise and bringing the funk, Kevin, no doubt about that. As Chris Buescher does anytime we go to a track here on the NASCAR Cup Series circuit.
Well, he's going to be doing that Humpty dance all over Charlotte tonight if when he takes this virtual number 17 fasten off forward right there into that virtual victory lane here in this virtual racing.
Don't even know how to respond to that, Kevin.
I even have to. I think the moment speaks for itself. You can only
chills, absolute chills.
You can definitely see there, Chris, as he gets ready to go. So just a few minutes away. You know what the official time on this race is? Was it 8:40? Is that correct?
That was what they told us ahead of time. Of course, anyone who has followed NASCAR tune-in times over the last couple of years knows that they're not always quite spot on. 3:30 races tend to start a couple minutes after that. So I would not be surprised if we had the same thing this time. What we do have is our, I'll call it unofficial right now, lineup for this feature race. Looks like Chris Buescher will be taking the green flag from the 5th position. On the pole will be James Davison, followed by William Byron, Ryan Preece, Christopher Bell, then Chris Buescher in 5th. Lining up in row 3 there alongside Garrett Smithley. There's some heavy hitters up at the top there, some guys that really do have a lot of iRacing practice. But, when you look at it, I don't think anyone's working harder at this than Chris Buescher.
It's just it's one of those moments where you just soak it in there. You can see he's conferring with his spotter, and I'm sure they're working out some last-minute strategy for how to bring this Fastenal Ford home.
They have to be. I mean, you got to be on your toes every lap here at the Bristol Dirt track. Absolutely full of potential traps, pitfalls, but also the openings that can get you to the front. Every lap's going to count here.
All right,
as it always does in NASCAR, of course. Every lap does count.
Looks
again,
like they fired those virtual engines up. You can see Chris there on the warm-up laps, getting some dirt into those tires.
I mean, Kevin, do you feel the gravity of this moment right now? First ever feature race.
Sitting here, it's hard not to walk down there and want to be a part of it. It's hard to be professional in a moment like this, but you know, it's for the betterment of the sport and the team. And you look here, let's look one more time at, in case you're watching it at home, and obviously second screen in here, you can get a look at that really good looking Fastenal Ford Mustang. Starting here, where's the exact starting position, Jackson?
I believe it's fifth unofficially.
Yeah. 21 car field, fifth. So I look for Chris to make pretty easy work of these 4 people in front of him here, and probably never look back.
So the main event here will be 70 laps. Of course, all of the heat races were 20 races. I know, Kevin. I can't.
I just don't think my heart can stand 70 laps. That is a lot. On the other side of the coin in years, and 70 laps of this kind of action with the hitman out there leading the way might be a little too much to ask of anybody, but I'm excited.
Something potentially to keep an eye on that's a little worrying here for Chris Buescher. While we haven't been able to get him on the line here for an interview, we do have an official comment from his PR person. It says, Chris said, "It is past my bedtime." Man, that's tough to hear.
And anybody knows, Chris knows what he means by that is I'm about to put a whooping on this field.
Time to enter Sandman because Chris is coming. I can't remember any other lyrics to that song, but I'm sure it would fit for this metaphor if it needed to.
Yeah, the other word from the PR guy from Chris was, it's time to kick booty and take names. And I got an ink pen.
And he's all out of bubble gum.
All out of bubble gum. So.
Uh-oh. The 37 car appears to be blinking in and out of frame. Of course, in iRacing, that is a sign that your internet connection is not quite up to snuff. Always worrying, especially worrying for us, given that is the car restarting in front of Chris Buescher in line on the inside row. Something to keep an eye out.
All you can say about that is, come on, man. This is big time automobile virtual racing here. You got to bring your Google Fiber or what to this. This isn't an AOL type game. This is the big boys, and it's big boy equipment, and too much on the line to be out here blinking around and dealing with that dial up.
Of course, the Roush Fenway Gaming team 2 years ago lost a race at Chicagoland Speedway when the number 6 of Zach Novak ran into internet connection issues from the lead with just about 20 laps to go there. Really a heartbreaking moment for everyone involved at this organization. It's something that I'll be honest, Kevin, I'm a little worried about on this restart here.
This is the Pro Invitational, Jackson. This is the big boys. This is you got to have your A game here, and that starts with your internet connection.
No doubt about that. Fortunately, we do have Chris, of course, running from the Roush Fenway World headquarters in Concord, North Carolina. Green flag, it's out. Looks like no major incidents in the first turn here. Chris holding strong on the inside line. I gotta tell you can already tell the difference between this and all the heat races. These are the professionals here. These are the big boys that came to play in this one.
This is the cream of the crop. Right here, this is you weeded out the others, and this is the guys here that are wanting to do it and ready to do it and gonna do it. You see Chris getting deep in there, and
there we go. There's a pile up. Oh, that's a tough one to see. Fortunately, Chris already out in front of it. There, Chris has regained his initial starting position of 5th here, and there's some chaos behind him.
Very interesting Interesting tactics taken by some there. I like that start at the bottom and spin all the way and run off the wall maneuver. It's an old, just watch Chris work that wheel. I mean, just watch him work that wheel. That's just something you can't.
My God, you can't teach.
You don't analyze it, you admire it.
Kevin, I think when I was visualizing a dirt race at Bristol, I wasn't quite envisioning quite so much slipping and sliding as these guys are doing. Do you think that's something we're going to look for this weekend as well when we get to the track?
Most definitely. You look at some of the races over the past week, there seemed to be a lot of slipping and sliding and flipping and twisting. And, speaking of which, this heat relatively tame compared to the first heat and some of the stuff we saw in the third. Looks like Chris holding steady at fifth. I'd imagine 70-lap race. He's not, he's going to take it and he's going to size his competition up. And then he's going to rise up to the challenge of his rivals there.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. Man, these guys are really just sawing back and forth on that wheel. Generally not what we see from them, making a little bit smoother motions on concrete at the ovals here. But these guys are really working the wheels. You can see how much work this is. Really a great forearm workout.
Definitely a handful of steering wheel for all. Looks like Chris relaxed up there, so obviously the feet a little bit behind here. I'm wondering what we're about to see.
Caution flag is out, and boom goes the dynamite. Ouch. Oh, dear.
Cautions are part of racing, Jackson, and you know what they say, cautions breed cautions. You have to wonder what we'll expect from
That's a wonderful phrase, Kevin. I don't think I've heard that before.
You heard it here first. Looks like a reset coming there for Joey Logano. Important to note, and as we have, I can't tell here laps left, but a sizable amount of laps left in this event, and Chris still with 2 resets. That's very important.
That's huge to have those in your pocket heading to the end of the race, just like timeouts in football. Generally, the team with the most timeouts at the end of the game wins, as we all know.
Looked like on the replay, the 48 dumped the 7, and a whole bunch of people ran into each other. So, sitting here under caution. I think we should take it back to Sydney for what's going on down there in the virtual war room pit, whatever you want to call it. What do you think?
Yeah, let's see if we can get her on.
Here we are, Sydney Friesen, there in the room where it's all going down. Sydney, tell us about what you're seeing.
Well, just a few minutes ago, Chris communicated to his spotter that he hit the wall several times. So I believe, did we use a reset there? No reset. We no damage to the car, so that's great news. Still working. It looks like we're under caution here, 2 to green. So looking to get Chris back on up to the front.
So important to note, Chris, with still 2 resets, Jackson. With how many laps left, Sydney?
It looks like we have 57 laps left.
57 laps to go, and he still has 2 resets. It'd be interesting to note if you knew what was going on, how many other teams have their complete portfolio of resets at their disposal. But obviously we've seen several people use them tonight. So Chris, one of the few there, got 2. So. All right, Sydney, we'll go back down to you here in a little bit, and hopefully you can tell us about how Chris got that thing in the first.
Sounds good. Be sure to follow us on all you Roush Fenway fans.
Yes, I'll be going right there. Chris Buescher, obviously a big influencer on TikTok. Just a platform that suits him.
It really does. If there's one thing I think about with Chris, it's music and trending dances.
I lose. Win a long time, but I lose. All right. So you see there, Chris.
We got a lot of fans out there asking. This race is airing on FS1. I do not believe it is streaming on any of the Twitch or YouTube channels associated with NASCAR. I do believe if you can pull up Fox Sports Go, you should be able to stream it on there as well if you're looking for an option there. But yeah, FS1 is the only other place you need to go other than this broadcast right here, as you get my and Kevin's insightful analysis into what's going on from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway dirt track. As we watch Chris Buescher, who is still in 5th place here under caution, really putting on a just incredibly strong performance all night. Of course, finished 2nd in qualifying, followed that up in heat number 2 with a 2nd place run there, where he started this 70-lap feature race from the 5th position, which he still holds on to under caution here. Big night from Chris, of course, racing from Roush Fenway World Headquarters in Concord, North Carolina. We got him there, the whole team set up. Spotter Matt Lady, also from Roush Fenway, putting in a lot of great work to get Chris ready for this race. If you're just tuning in, Ryan Newman finished, well, I don't know what the number is. He finished in last place in heat number 2.
Hey, Jackson,
really close, though.
Something here. This is what it's going to take to get Chris to the front of the field and win this race, okay?
All right.
This car here, that car's first, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This car here, it is second. You got a car here, it's third. You got a car here, it's fourth, okay? So it's important. Chris is running 5th, right?
Yep.
In order to win this race, what Chris is going to need to do in these next 57 laps is pass this car and pass this car and pass this car and pass this car, and boom, you have that 17 forward in victory lane.
That's an interesting strategy, one I had not considered for the Prosper, Texas native. We'll have to see if we can get a look in with his crew chief for the race, see if they're on the same page as Kevin there with that strategy. Looks like there's a little bit more action here in this feature as we've come to the 2nd restart. And I believe Chris Buescher has taken the lead here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So he must have been listening to Kevin's advice there, because he, in just about 2 laps, already gotten that number 17 Fastenal Racing Ford E Mustang up to the front with almost a half a second lead already, Kevin.
It was very important to note. What you saw here was he went by all these cars, and he is 17 P1. All he's got to do is hang on now for 50 more laps.
I'm absolutely awestruck here. Chris Buescher is a man on a mission, as 2nd and 3rd place slide right into each other there, giving Chris another little boost here. We got a couple people asking if we can show the TV feed in here. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that tonight. So if you want to pull up FS1 on a 2nd screen or stream it with, generally your TV provider will also let you stream it on Fox Sports Go, so you can check that out. But we have all of the action right here on Roush Fenway's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, maybe LinkedIn by the time you're getting to this channels.
All right, what you got here right now is Chris Buescher in P1.
Mm-hmm.
Fastenal Ford. Behind him, you have 20 other cars who are trying to pass him. So it's going to be important for Chris to not let those 20 cars pass him.
Right. Mm-hmm. Brilliant stuff as always from Kevin there. Chris has stretched his lead out to almost 0.8 of a second here as we hit lap 25. This is unbelievable. If you paid attention last year, Chris, some ups and downs, did lead a few laps in some of the iRacing Pro Invitational events last year. though some of that may have been on fuel strategy, as Kevin and I advised him to just simply stay out as long as possible so he would actually get shown on TV. It worked, by the way, for at least a little bit. But he is stretching his lead here on the field as we're closing in on halfway through the race. He is over a second ahead of the nearest competitor, James Davison, followed by William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Preece. This is some brilliant stuff. As we're seeing in the comments, we're providing some John Madden level of analysis from Kevin, which I guess makes me Pat Summerall, which as a young child, of course, is what I wanted to be, growing up wanting to be a sports broadcaster. So
I tell you what, Jack, we watch these laps winding down, and it's hard on the ticker. I remember the closing laps of the 2004 Homestead race, which was closing in on our second straight championship. I remember in 2002 watching the laps wind down as Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth battled for the Coke 600. I've seen some big moments here at Roush Fenway, but watching Chris Buescher run away with this inaugural virtual Bristol Dirt race is definitely a moment for the ages. And just watching him there, if you look here on the screen, I mean, let's take him big. I mean, this is a man. This man right here is dominating the field at Bristol virtual dirt track. He's taking it to him. I mean, we said the guy came to kick butt and chew gum, and it looks to me, Jackson, like this man is out of gum.
Kevin, I'll be honest, I got completely sidetracked when you were talking about remembering 2004. I was in middle school at the time, so I was probably out there somewhere putting up a double-double in church league basketball.
Well, I mean, I remember it from my crib. I mean, I was a little bit younger than that myself, but I tell you what, it's a big, exciting moment. I think what we want to do now is probably with Chris in the lead. Let's go back down to Stevie pricing. Unless we missed something here.
Chris is not in the lead anymore and appears to have just gotten a side swipe from the number 8 car as they battle for second.
That's all right. That's, Rubbin's racing and he's rubbing out there, and Luce is fast, and that man is fast. And I have no doubt that he took that thing into first place once, he'll take it into first place again. And he gets a little deep in the corner down to Sydney and see what the mood is down there. As we saw Chris, he's now in third, but he's definitely in contention for this race. See it is it intense as in there as it is watching it here on TV.
Jackson, Kevin, it is intense in here. All of us are at the edge of our seats. When jumped up, when Tyler Reddick bumped into Chris, but fast means fast and all, and that Ford will get back up to the front. I have no doubts about it.
What was the mood there of the team when Chris obviously did slide to third, but still well in contention for this race?
It's calm. We're very calm. We're on the edge of our seats, just watching. We don't want to alarm Chris because we know he can get back in that P1 spot.
All right. Well, Sid, we know it's probably hard for you to be calm, and we appreciate your efforts towards this historic night in Roush Fenway racing.
Hey, Kevin, I don't know if you've been reading the comment section here, but we got a good one here from a gentleman named Mike. Who I would like to remind everyone is watching you and I talk about this video game race on YouTube. He said, how can you take this guy seriously? He's comparing this race to real races. Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin won. What a clown. I've got to say, Mike, you're absolutely right. I don't know how you could take us seriously right now.
Well, I say stuff as many of us in a car as you can get in there, and we'll see. We will delight the crowd.
We're all having fun here, guys. It's a Wednesday night. We're watching some iRacing from the Bristol Dirt track. We really appreciate everyone who's watching along with us. We're having a blast watching Chris Buescher make laps here. I think still in third. I'll be honest, it's a little hard to tell what's going on from the TV broadcast.
Well, it's currently very easy to see Tyler Reddick's path around the track as seems to be what we're focused on at the moment. But I'm sure the action up front is still hot and heavy, and Chris is still hanging there in third. So, obviously Chris really strong on that last restart. So, you got to think there's going to be another caution in this race, and you look for him to be equally as strong on the next restart and put that thing back up front.
Look at that. Kevin Stradamus here as another caution flag comes out right as he says that. Certainly probably wouldn't be because his feed's ahead of mine on there, but what a great prediction, Kevin. I'm pretty impressed there.
Well, we were kind of hoping for it. So kind of got the caution we need. Chris still sitting there with those two. We cannot reiterate that point enough that Chris has the 2 full resets in his back pocket. So he could withstand some misfortune.
I mean, if that gets Chris back in this race, you have to throw that up there with one of the biggest moments in Roush Fenway history.
It could be. I mean, it would definitely be one of the biggest moments in Roush Fenway virtual history, which, this is a virtual race. So, they always say the biggest race is the next one, and currently this is the one we're right in the middle of. So we will put the focus. I think something else, Chris there when he exchanged that second and third place, they were going back and forth in the lead. He did get bumped around a little bit, so you have to wonder if they're considering doing if he has any structural damage that could warrant a reset here.
I think this might be the time to use one. You still got one in your back pocket for the end of the race, but you could go ahead and throw one out there right now, see if you can stay up front. Kevin, you mentioned the biggest moments in Roush Fenway virtual history. I'd like to throw a couple of nominees out there.
I would just say, please keep them virtual. We wouldn't want to offend anyone.
Right, of course. Of course, Roush Fenway Gaming has 8 career wins across both the Coca-Cola iRacing Series and the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Of course, in the first race as a team, Roush Fenway Gaming brought home the checkered flag at Virtual Daytona, and Zach Novak in the number 6 Oscar Mayer E-Mustang on February 12, 2019. Zach would win 5 races that year, including the All-Star race from Rockingham, and he would go on to, at Homestead in October of that year, win the Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship in Roush Fenway's first year in the series. So this is up there competing with moments like that, and also Nick Walker's 2 wins in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. eNASCAR Heat Pro League. I said it right the first time. I don't know why I second-guessed myself.
Well, yes, absolutely. Some of the biggest moments there. We all feel like we lived those moments. Extremely exciting times in the Roush Fenway Esports. And here we are right now, and one of the grandest events in NASCAR Esports history. And Chris the Hitman Busher right up there in the front, mixing it up, and we really look for him to do some big things here on this restart.
We got a lot of people asking if Chris ever blinks, and I got to be honest, Kevin, I'm not sure I ever have seen it.
Chris does not blink. Never. It's never going to happen. No. Chris once had a bet with Superman. Loser wears his underwear on the outside of his pants forever. How did that work out?
That was a good one, Kevin. Really, really insightful analysis.
All right, here we go. Looks like Chris is you can see that look on his face. Looks like we're probably getting ready to go back to the green here pretty soon. A little bit relaxed, what they call this, loosen your belts up for a minute and take a deep breath. And it doesn't appear to be dark at Virtual Bristol, which is confusing to me.
No, it doesn't. I will say
maybe virtual hasn't, they haven't changed the time yet, like a Phoenix type thing or something.
Yeah.
You think it'd be a little darker?
We're at daylight savings time, Bristol, right now. Looks like I'm not sure if Chris used that reset or not. It looks like he will again restart from third on the inside line, so maintaining the position.
I believe that would mean he did not use the reset. Sydney, you give us a thumbs up or down. Did Chris use a reset on that, Sid? He did not use a reset, so he's still in possession of those 2 valuable 4 resets as this race gets ready to go green. What we'd like to see is Chris get on there and pass those 2 cars and get back in the lead. It feels good up front.
That's certainly what I would like to see here, Kevin. You had such good diagrams that last green flag run about what the strategy needed to be for Chris. He, of course, followed it to an absolute T. Just hoping he can implement a similar game plan on this run.
It's a little bit of a more simple formula because before he had to maneuver by 4 cars because he was 5th. Here he is 3rd, so he only has to really get by 2 cars to take the lead.
Of course, saw Chris yawn on the feed there. I will once again remind everyone he did say it is past his bedtime. Something to look out for as we get to the second half of this race.
It's a tick, I believe, a tick he has. When he's about to unleash the full wrath of his right foot, he yawns.
It's actually how he blinks.
Yes, Chris doesn't blink, he yawns.
We got a couple of people in here saying, tell Chris checkers or wreckers. I can assure you that is not an issue. No one has any regard for the damage to these virtual cars. I can assure you there will be some wreckers before we get to the checkers here.
Well, he can wreckers twice and still be okay too. So I think, again, that's an important note I think we have here.
Always good to keep in mind.
It'll be interesting to see how this translates for Chris on Sunday and Saturday, actually, I guess, in the heat races at the real dirt race at Bristol, which, Jackson, you'll be there in attendance.
I will be, and I'm not really sure what Larry Mack is doing here on the TV broadcast or how it will play into what we'll see there from the track as we head there for the entire weekend. It's our first non-one-day show race since Daytona. The first time we'll see practice and qualifying. Oh my goodness! Just a total annihilation of the back of the field. Chris, of course, in second place, way out in front of the carnage. But my God!
My God, man, they got a family. That man's got a family.
I didn't realize that iRacing had borrowed some of the source code from Pinball Champion when it was writing the program for the dirt race.
Chris firmly up in the second position there. He's got one more car to get by and see if he can take the lead. Already led a number of laps. I'm not sure the official count on how many laps he's led in this race, but quite a few and looking to lead more. Currently battling it out with Tyler Reddick for that second position and looking strong.
Chris is ripping the top fence here. This is really something to watch.
He made short work of Reddick on that restart. I'll say that much. And he's got his eyes set on Lord Byron, and he's coming in.
I'm getting word from Sydney. Chris has led 16 laps tonight. 16
laps. So 17 laps to go. Chris has led 16. He's currently in third place and battling Tyler Reddick to the wire here. So strong performance by Chris Buescher tonight on the virtual dirt track here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Kevin, this looks a lot like you and I racing.
Well,
I mean that as a compliment, of course, to all the drivers in tonight's field. Kevin and I have had some spirited battles in Dirt to Daytona on the PlayStation 2 platform.
Yes, mostly online.
Oh, and we got another caution out here. All right,
I think that caution's a good sign for Chris. Sitting there in third.
Do you
really
need to restart now?
I don't know if he has any.
You're the master tactician here, Kevin. I gotta know, is now when you pull out the restart?
So was that William Byron that caused the caution, the leader?
That's a fantastic question. One I do not know the answer to.
It would be interesting to note that, but not sure. Chris still with those 2 full repairs, but I wouldn't think he would have had any damage there. But then again, I think we'd probably need to talk to his crew chief, Matt Lady, to figure out exactly, how much the car might handle better. But it doesn't look like he's having any handling issues, so you may want to leave that car right where it is.
Hey, Kevin, I'm getting word that we have Chris Buescher here actually ready to talk to us during this caution.
That would be awesome.
See if we can patch him in.
Chris,
what's going on?
How's it going out there, man? You putting them down?
Yeah, it's a good time. I'm surprised how smooth this has really gone. Actually, don't have any background in dirt racing, so or iRacing. So we're learning as we go here, but trying to get that high line working a little better. I keep fencing it here, so working to try and clean that up a little bit.
Well, I was just telling Jackson that you don't analyze Chris Buescher's abilities; you admire them. So we're going to continue to admire them, and go give them hell on this restart. Let's take that P1 back.
Yep, we're going to do our best here, so we'll sail it on in there.
All right, good luck.
Really cool for someone like Chris and his level of notoriety to take some time out to talk to us during this race. Always appreciate that about someone like Chris. Always willing to take time for the media, go the extra mile. Really make sure that he's got the Fastenal T-shirt on. He's bumping up his sponsor engagement there. What an impressive young man.
Let's see if we could talk to Crew Chief Matt Lady real quick. See it? Is that a possibility? Matt, what do you got for him here?
Well, we are staying out for track position. The car doesn't have enough damage to really warrant a pit. Tires are holding up fine, plenty of fuel. So we're just staying out and going for it. You're going to send it.
All right, you send that Fastenal forward to the front. Thank you, Matt.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
I love having someone like Matt.
Track position, and going to send that thing to the front.
I love having someone like Matt up on top of the pit box. He's a guy who's not afraid to take risks, giving Chris that track position here at the end of the race. I think, you can talk about resets, you can talk about tires. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be the driver that wants it the most that's going to win this thing. I think that's Chris Buescher, so you put him up near the front here. I think he gets it done here at the end.
Comes down to heart.
Heart and those pixels up on the screen there. Those two things together, that's going to be what's going to win this race.
And of course, that's not undermining the great skill of a champion like Chris Buescher.
We got another word from Chris's PR team. Chris just said, this is where it gets weird. Chris, if it hasn't been weird yet already, then I don't know what we're watching, but I sure can't wait to see what happens next.
I would expect an intense handful of laps here on this restart and as this race winds down.
Over on YouTube, Christopher Marsh says he could go for an Oscar Mayer hot dog. I sure could too, Kevin. I don't know about you.
I tell you what, I had 3 before the race started, and I'm going to have 3 or 4 more when it's over.
I didn't realize you had started a new diet.
Oh, yeah, hot dog diet.
Well, I just mean usually you have 5 or 6 for dinner every night.
I'm trying to cut back.
Well, it's hard to with how delicious those Oscar Mayer hot dogs, bacon, and cold cuts are. Thank you, Chris, for giving us an opportunity to make that sponsor plug here. All right, looks like we're about ready to get back to green here. Chris may already be back to green. He's definitely ahead of my TV feed.
All right, well, let's hone in here on Buescher.
He seriously doesn't blink. This is incredible to watch.
Man doesn't have time to blink. It could be he blinks so fast you can't see it.
He does a lot of things very fast. That could certainly be it.
A little bit of a rough restart there.
Yeah,
But
looks like Chris is back to ripping the top line here. Only about 5 laps to go here. Chris is in 6th place right now, but has the high line, which, as he said, is what he was trying to get working here as we got down to the final laps.
Chris always goes high.
I'm sure that's a quote, Kevin. I don't know what you're referring to, though.
Well, that's because you refuse to watch the greatest racing movie ever.
I believe Chris just got punted.
Oh, somebody come in and send him. We're going to have to hope for a caution here. Unfortunate circumstance for Chris Buescher, who had put up a absolutely stellar fight.
Oh, you hate to see that.
En route to 16 laps led and really virtually ran the entire race inside the top 3 or 4. And you know, to have that happen there late at the end, it's obviously unfortunate. We'll see what happens here. Got a handful of laps left, and it's still sitting on those 2 resets.
Well, Kevin, that sucks. No other way about it.
That is a definite unfortunate occurrence.
2 to go. I don't know. We're getting this caution here.
Looks like it may be a tough road to hoe, and this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for Chris Busher and that number 17 virtual Fastenal team. Brought a super fast virtual Fastenal forward to this race. Really got out in front and had the spotlight shined on him, and I believe was one of the top 3 cars in the race for the majority of the race. So, you know, nothing to be ashamed of here. Great effort. Proud of them. And, you know, much like Ryan, Chris will come back here at Talladega here in April, and, you know, we'll do this thing again. See Chris there. Looks like race is wound down. So not sure the exact finish there. Got wrecked. I think it's maybe 13th is where he'll come in, but obviously a much better race than that for Chris Busher tonight.
Man, that really hurts. It really stings. You hate to see it. Guy like Chris puts in all the work, runs up front the entire day, and just, you know, unfortunate recipient there, and doesn't get the finish he deserves.
Now we watch all the cars. They virtually disappear. Maybe we can get one word here with Chris before we sign off for the night.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that one from Chris's perspective,
Seems
certainly.
to be some element of mayhem going on down there in the virtual pit room. Let's go to Sid here. Maybe we can. Hey, Sid, you there?
They want him back in there.
How's it going?
How's it going? Let's.
They want him into for the Zoom.
What's the mood down there? Tough finish for Chris Busher and the 17 team there. Ran virtually the whole race at the front of the field, and got somebody ran out of time.
We actually have Chris coming on right now. So, Chris, you want to talk about that finish?
Well,
Chris, Mama said there'll be days like that. So you went out. You looked like one of the top 3 cars easily in the race. You led 16 laps. Like you were ready to make your move there at the end. And I don't know if somebody ran out of talent or what happened there, but you looked like you were pointed the wrong way fast.
yeah, it's about normal for these things. There's not any consequence, right? So you get got run and was rolling. A dirt racing was a good time. It's hope that's a sign of things to come as we look forward to this weekend. Hopefully, got a really fast race car and we go out there and pick up on it. Probably could have done better with a little bit more track time here, but that one's on me. So still good. Good start. Hate we got run over and didn't get our finish out of it, but we got them back at the end at least. So got to run all through them.
Well, we certainly had a great time watching you, and you was a great representative out there in that 17 Ford, Fastenal Ford for us. And we wish you a lot of luck. We'll see you in the same colors there on this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So good luck at the real race, and we'll catch you again here in the iRace Pro Invitational World on April 21st. You guys will take it to Talladega. So thank you for your time tonight. Congratulations on a solid run.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go do it again.
Well, Jackson, looks like that's going to wind us down here tonight.
I'm heartbroken.
It was tough. It's you know, you can't be angry. We were able to come out here and compete and run up front and make some noise, and things just didn't work out well at the end there for the Roush Fenway team and that Fastenal team. And real proud of the efforts of Chris Busher and Matt Lady, everybody on the Fastenal Ford team. And we'll go get them. We'll go get them this weekend at the real track. We'll go get them in April here back on the iRacing Pro Invitational.
Absolutely. Great as always to talk to you, Kevin.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for enduring us for the past feels like several hours. I'm not really sure how long it was, but until next time, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jackson.